Hello and welcome to the Wednesday, December 22nd edition, 2020 of the Bobby Hesley Show. How's everybody doing, fam? Your man Bobby Hesley is heated. I'm heated today, guys. I know it's been a few days since you heard from me. I will explain that as well. I've been very, very busy with my business, which I'm thankful to God for. I have to honor God. He's given me opportunities that I have to take advantage of, that I cannot neglect. So that's part of why you guys have not been hearing from me. The other part is like I said a few videos ago, this day-to-day roller coaster of everything, guys. We just need to let everything play out. But there are two separate issues that I want you guys to be aware of, okay? Issue number one is the 2020 election. I still believe what I believe about that, okay? I still support President Trump in that regard. That's a whole separate issue. Until I see him concede, I'm not going to concede, and you shouldn't either. But I'm starting to see a little cracks of concession in the president. I'm going to be honest. I'm starting to see a little bit of wear down going on there. But the 2020 elections are a completely separate issue, okay? That's not what this video is about, guys. I might cover some of it, but that's not at all what it's about, okay? I will address a little bit of propaganda just to let everybody get in here. This notion of martial law, the president has shot that down. There's not going to be martial law. That's fake news. So don't worry about military soldiers and, people going door to door with, rifles and army trucks rounding up people. That's not going to happen, guys. President Trump himself has shot that down. But that's not what I'm talking about, guys. That's not what I'm covering today. There's a lot going on. What I want to talk about today is this horrendous, hot garbage COVID relief bill. You notice how I'm putting COVID in quotes. I am sick and tired of this virus being politicized and being weaponized against we, the people. And I got to be honest, guys. You guys know how much I love President Trump. I have been wearing this hat for most of this year, guys. I've worn this hat to rallies, to protests, to all kinds of things. You guys know how much I support President Trump. What black guy do you know supports President Donald Trump more than Bobby Hesley does, that you've seen in your immediate circle? I know there's some mainstream figures out there who support him, but I'm in the top 5 of black guys you probably know who support Donald Trump. And I have always supported President Donald Trump. But that has to be a two-way street, though, guys. It's got to be a two-way street. The law of reciprocity has to kick in at some point. And our president has gotten a lot of support from us, the American people. He's still getting a lot of support from us, the American people. But we better start seeing some support from him. What have you done for me lately, Miss Janet Jackson said. He's been a great president these past 4 years. But in all actuality, guys, none of that means jack squat right now. None of that means diddly squat. The wall doesn't mean anything. This greatest economy in the history of America that we've had doesn't mean anything. That had to be shut down by COVID. Everything the president has done up until this point, as grateful as I am of that, as grateful as we are of it, none of that means anything right now with what's going on in this country. Whether it has to do with the swamp, pretty much everybody that we figured was in the swamp is part of the swamp. Even a few people that disappointed us that we thought were immune from the swamp have proven themselves to be a part of it. But I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it loud and clear. I don't know what the president's intentions are with this bill, but if President Donald J. Trump does not veto this bill, then he is part of the swamp as well. And it is hard for me to say that it is for you to hear it, folks. Trust me when I tell you. Do you really think I woke up this morning wanting to say that? But after seeing this horrendous bill, and I have to have integrity, guys. I have to have integrity. I can't put this all on the Democrats, guys. This $900 billion stimulus bill, COVID stimulus bill, I can't put it all on the Democrats, folks. There are some Republicans that are in on this too. There are only 6 Republicans. I don't have the list in front of me. Mike Lee, Ted Cruz, a few other brave souls. There are only 6 Republicans that are opposing this bill. That means all the other Republicans are in on it. All the other Republicans, we can place the blame at their feet of this stimulus bill right along with the Democrats. And I hate it when I use this term, that I've coined this phrase. I call them Republicrats, guys. These Republicans who are Republicans in name only, which is what that phrase rhino is that you hear a lot. These Republicrats, these Republicans who run as Republicans and then govern as Democrats after they swindle us out of our votes, they're part of the swamp. And I blame this for this stimulus bill too. So me being a numbers guy, I want to break this bill down. Let me share my screen real quick. Give me a second, guys. I'm going to share my screen. I want you guys to see something here. Okay, you guys are looking at my screen here. Now let's just do some simple math, guys. Let's do some simple math. There are approximately 328 million Americans that would qualify to receive this stimulus. So let's clear the calculator out for a second. 328 million. Okay, 328 million times our measly little $600. Oh, thanks. That's nice. Now that's $196 billion. Let's just round it up to $200 billion. Okay. So this is $200 billion that our generous, benevolent federal government, who cares so much about us Americans that are down and out as a result of COVID, are looking to give us in COVID relief. $600. So you guys see the number, right? Now, the stimulus bill, let's clear it out again. Let me get rid of this memory here. Let's clear it out again. Now, it's 900 million. $900 billion, guys. That's a lot of money. That's bigger than Obama's stimulus back in 2009, his $787 billion stimulus. This is more pork. This is a bigger stimulus bill than I've seen in a long time, guys. Now think about this. We only get 200 billion, and I'm rounding that up. So minus 200, minus our little cut. This leaves $700 billion left over in this COVID relief bill, quote unquote. $700 billion. So where else does that go then? If we only get 200 billion of this, where does this other 700 billion go? Well, I'm sure many of you have seen this by now. Let me go ahead and share my screen again, except this time I'm going to make it full screen. And I'm going to show you where all the rest of this money goes. So domestic funding, $26,400,000 goes to the Kennedy Center. $1 billion goes to the Smithsonian Center. Oh, that's nice. National Art and Gallery, $154 million. National Art and Humanities, $167 million. Wilson Center, $14 million. So before we move on to the foreign countries where this goes, let's start with the domestic first, okay? Do you know how many millions of business owners, how many millions of restaurants have been absolutely decimated? Not by the pandemic. I'm not going to say that anymore. I'm done saying that COVID ruined the economy. It was not COVID-19 that ruined the economy. It was the overreach and the politicization and the weaponization of this legitimate virus that has actually killed people. I am not denying that COVID-19 is a real virus. It's a real virus. It's a deadly virus. And then when it hits hard and it hits fast. I'm not here to dispute the legitimacy of COVID. But the fact is, folks, COVID-19 did not destroy the U.S. economy. It was the political overreach and the opportunistic weaponization and politicization of this virus that has destroyed the economy. And I can speak that from experience because I'm here in Michigan. We are ground zero. We live in the worst state in the union when it comes to the response of the COVID virus, with how our governor, Gretchen Whitmer, has used COVID as an opportunity for overreach. It's absolutely ridiculous what she's done. So why is it that a lot of this money can't go to restaurant owners? That's what I don't understand. How about you keep all this domestic funding to go to people who actually need it? And as a matter of fact, all these centers, Kennedy Center, Smithsonian, National Art Gallery, blah, 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 they're all freaking shut down anyway because of COVID. So why would you pour billions of dollars into all these domestic government-run institutions that are roped off, that are boarded up, that are closed down, that have limited hours, that are barely open anyway? Why not give that money to actual businesses that we can go to? That's my question number one. Why is it not going to American business owners? Don't get me started with these foreign countries, folks. Egypt, 1.3 billion. Sudan, 700 million. Ukraine, 453 million. Make sure Joe and Hunter get their slice of that Ukraine money. That fake impeachment was over an offense that Joe Biden was guilty of, not Donald Trump. Israel, 500 million. Nepal, 130 million. Burma, 135 million. Cambodia, 86 million. Pakistan, 25 million, 10 million of which goes to gender studies for children. It gives children the ability to get certain kinds of operations. Let's just say that. Asia. By Asia, what they really mean is China, folks. $1.4 billion. And last but not least, the American people, who this bill is supposedly designed for, we get a whopping $600. You can miss me with that $600. You know what my question is? Here's what my question is, folks. When the first stimulus came out back in March or April of this year, 9 months ago, when we all got $1,200 apiece, right? We are much worse off as a country, and we are much worse off as a people than we were 9 months ago. Yet why are we only getting half of what we got 9 months ago when we were much better off? I hate to say it. Compared to where we are now, compared to where we were back then, we got $1,200 a piece back when COVID first hit, when we were just a week or two into these shutdowns. And now we've been 9 months into these shutdowns, a year full of riots, a year full of destructive protests, one of the worst election heists in American history, the worst. After everything we've been through as a country, you would think that we would get a stimulus that's 2 or 3 times the size of the stimulus that we got back in March when everything first started. And yet it's only half. And I don't argue. Listen, I'm not arguing socialism. This is straight up socialist wealth redistribution, guys. I don't care how you slice it, whether the stimulus is $600, $1,200, $1,800, $2,400, $3,600, whatever multiple or divisible of 600 you want to use. This is straight up textbook socialism, guys. This is redistribution of wealth. This is, whether it's a Democrat or a Republican who's signing it, this is straight up socialism, guys. You guys realize that our national debt is approaching $30 trillion. 30 trillion. You guys know how much a trillion is? That's 1,000 billion, son. That's a lot of money, dude. Just think of how much money $1 trillion is. Think of how much money $1 billion is. $1 billion is 1,000 million, right? That's a lot of money, dude. Hell, $1 million is a lot of money. That's 1,000,000, right? $1 billion is 1,000 million. $1 trillion, guys, is 1,000 billion. Just $1 trillion is almost an infinite amount of money. Multiply that by 30, guys. 30 units of 1,000 billion. Back when Obama and Romney were going at it back in 2012. You remember the roasting at the Alfred E. Newman dinner or whatever that dinner was? Did I just mention the mad guy? But you guys know the dinner where the candidates roast each other. You remember one of the sharpest roasts of the night, Mitt Romney says he was talking about Sesame Street because of the comment he made about Big Bird. Everybody was talking about Sesame Street. And he said, today's number is 16 trillion, brought to you by the letter O, meaning Obama had taken the deficit from like 9 trillion to 16 trillion in one term, right? And that was funny back then, but it was also really scary back then. Like, wow, Obama doubled the deficit from 9 trillion to 16 trillion. Well, guess what, guys? That was back in 2012. 8 years later, we are approaching $30 trillion, 30 units of 1,000 billion. Do you understand what I'm saying? Are you grasping the enormity of that number, guys? And now we have Donald Trump, not a single tweet from President Trump about his intent to veto this bill. You are still the president of the United States, President Donald Trump. You still have the veto power of your presidential pen. You can veto this thing. And if this bill passes, and if this bill gets signed by you, I got to be honest, guys. I think I'm done with Trump. If Trump signs this bill, win, lose, or draw, again, the 2020 election is a completely separate issue. That is a totally separate issue for what I'm talking about here. But the fact is, if Trump screws us on his way out by signing this veto bill, then that means that President Trump was part of the swamp. He went out as a swamp creature. He may not have come in as one. He may have come in as an outsider. But maybe 4 years of him being in the swamp ended up corrupting him. And maybe he turned into a swamp creature himself through osmosis. Because apparently he is surrounded by advisors who want him to concede, who want them to quit, so that they can become lobbyists and get their $1 million a year jobs. Guys, if we get $600, big deal. You realize how much money, do you realize how expensive that $600 is? Think about it. Where does the government get this money from? Santa Claus? They get it from us, guys. This is our tax dollars. Do you realize how expensive it's going to be? Do you realize how much debt we are putting our sons and daughters and grandchildren into for future generations to pay for a $600 stimulus that their parents and grandparents got? We are putting them in hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt each. You guys realize that each of our children and grandchildren that are born, they are going to start off being born into hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt if this national debt, if this deficit keeps climbing at the rate that it's climbing. And Donald Trump, if he signs this veto bill, will have played a hand in robbing our children and grandchildren of wealth that they were entitled to. And it sucks to say this, guys. I hate to talk this way about President Trump. You know how much I support him. You know how much I love him. But if he ain't going to love and support me in return, and he's going to screw my kids and grandkids out of their inheritance, starting them off hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, because collectively, that's how much each American is going to have to be taxed to pay for all this. And he has the power to stop it. And I hope he does. But I am saying publicly that as of today, Donald Trump is on probation with me. He is. I'm not quitting on him. I'm not throwing him under the bus, at least not yet. That's pending whether or not he's going to throw me under the bus and throw you under the bus by signing this horrendous bill, this theft of future generations. This is President Trump. Please veto this bill. We're begging you. Just like you're begging us to fight for you. Matter of fact, let me roll a clip of what's been going, of something that's been going recently. Let me show you the one-way street that we've been walking so far, okay? Let me show you guys something here. So let me clarify something, guys. I just want to be clear about something. I'm not completely opposed to the $600 stimulus. Should it be more? Yes. Should the money be given in different places? Yes. My problem, if Donald Trump signs this thing, is the other $700 billion that he would be whoring out to all these other countries. That's what my issue is. It's not the stimulus per se, although I think we could do much better than that. It's the fact that if he might be willing, and I don't know if he's going to do this, but if he signs off on $700 billion while we're in the middle of this horrible economy right now, we don't have the money, guys. We don't have that kind of money to be given away to other countries right now like that. That's what my issue is. I should be clear on that. The $700 just, being Santa Claus to the world. We don't have the money to do that, guys. And guys, part of this frustration comes from the fact that you guys know how hard I've worked for President Trump. I have made a fool of myself supporting Donald Trump. I have. I'm not saying I regret that. I'm just documenting my right to say what I'm saying publicly. I've opened myself up to trolls and unspeakable abuse online that I've gotten. You guys see some of these comments that come on my wall when I do these videos. I do all that for our president because I believe in him. I've volunteered for hours and hours, guys. All that campaigning you guys saw me doing all these months, I didn't get paid a dime for that, guys. I neglected my business. I neglected a lot of other things in my life to do that. And I'm glad I did it. I meant every bit of it, guys. I was a credentialed poll challenger for the Michigan GOP. You guys saw how hard I tried to get into the TCF Center. I gave speeches on bullhorns. I documented me not being let in. I did coverage after coverage, made dozens and dozens of videos. I went to the Black Voices for Trump office, multiple times per week in Detroit. Met some great people, met some lifelong friends and allies. I don't regret any of that. I've done podcasts. I've done interviews. I've written posts. I've made walk and talks, drive and dives, sit and spits. I've stood in the cold for hours, multiple occasions to go to rallies, to go to peaceful protests. And all of you have done that too. I'm not just saying I'm the only one that's done that. We've all done that too. So that gives us a right to hold our president accountable. Do not sign this bill. He owes it to us to veto this bill. And I mean it, guys. If this bill goes through, if this bill gets President Trump's presidential ink, I don't know what I'm going to do. As far as I'm still going to make my videos. My channel's still going to be what it is. I'm still going to go at Biden. I'm still going to go at Kamala Harris. None of that's going to change. But as far as the Donald Trump brand goes, I don't know what I'm going to do if this bill goes through, guys. If he signs this bill, not so much the stimulus part, but he better negotiate with Congress. He better say, listen, I'm only signing a bill for our Americans. We're not giving away a bunch of money overseas. We're not giving away $700 billion to all these foreign countries right now. With the condition we're in, with everything we're going through as a country right now, there's no way he should do that. No way. It would be a betrayal to us, guys. It would be an absolute betrayal. And as of now, as of right now, let me share my screen again. This is the president's Twitter page. Let me blow it up here. So I've been looking at his page, and I've been looking to see some commentary on what he's going to do with this bill. So far, all we've seen, the Democrats dumped hundreds of thousands of ballots in the swing states, okay? We've seen a lot of that. Bragging about the vaccines, going very smoothly, okay? We've seen a lot about that. Senator Ron Johnson, that's some good news from him. He's going to dispute the slate of electors, so that's good. But I'm still waiting for some commentary on the stimulus. Now, here's President Trump asking us conservatives. He's saying, conservatives, call on state legislators to appoint new electors in accordance with the Constitution. He wants us to have his back, okay? Republicans in Wisconsin should take these three strong decisions to their state legislatures and overturn this ridiculous state election. So he's asking us for this support, which he knows he has. He knows we support him. But it's got to go both ways. He cannot act like all these other Republicans who we vote into office, who we support, And then once they get our votes, once they get into office, once they start using that power that we grant to them, they go lockstep with all the Democrats and everything Democrats want to do. Do you ever see Democrats want to work with Republicans? Do you ever hear Democrats talking about crossing the aisle? No, it's always the Republicans you hear saying work with Democrats. It's always the Republicans who are the ones that act like we need to cross the aisle and hold hands and sing Kumbaya with these people that hate everything that we stand for. And I just don't want to see our president go down that road. So President Trump, I'm asking you, please veto this bill. At least fight for more money for your people. Why don't you negotiate? You're the businessman, and I'm hoping you do. Negotiate a higher stimulus amount. Now, I don't agree. I just wish we could open up the economy and just let us make our own money, because it's going to be a lot less expensive. Here's what you guys have to realize. It's not going to cost the future generations any money for us to open up this economy again and get back to work and get back to business. If anything, that's going to leave some wealth for the future generations. But this $600 stimulus check, this $200 billion, somebody's got to pay that back. Sooner or later, the math is going to catch up, and somebody's going to have to pay the piper for that. So I just think there's different ways to go about it, folks. That's where I stand. I'm hoping that the president does the right thing. I really am. And President Trump is wanting us to come out to Washington, D.C. on January 6th. Listen, us Americans, we've done these million MAGA marches multiple times. And this economy, with everybody losing their jobs, losing their business, people are still finding the time and the money to go out to Washington, D.C. to do these multiple million MAGA marches supporting our president. He's wanting us to come out again on January 6th to support him. And I got to be honest, I don't know if I'm coming out on January 6th. If he signs this veto bill, or if he doesn't veto this horrible stimulus bill, I'm not going. I'm not. Because we have to get some support too. That's what I wanted to say, guys. I'm just being honest, guys. I know you guys don't like hearing this. I hope you're right, Mary Quinn. I hope you're right, Mary Quinn. But I just want you guys to see where I stand. Right is right, guys. I will go wherever the truth leads me. And it's kind of like damned if you do, damned if you don't. You know, it's unpopular to support President Trump. Clearly it is, especially if you're black. If you have a lot of melanin in your skin, it's really unpopular to support President Trump, which I've done for 4 years. And now I find myself in a situation where it's kind of unpopular to support President Trump. But right is right, guys. I can't support a president that's willing to sell us out to all these foreign nations right where we're in the middle of this national crisis. And I'm not just talking about the 2020 elections crisis. I'm talking about the economy being brought down to its knees by the overreach of these governments. And this will finish us off. I'm just telling you. If this bill goes through, man, it's just not going to be good, guys. So trust in God. Put not your trust in prince, as it says in Scripture. And I am not quitting on Donald Trump. Your man, Bobby Hesley, is not quitting on Trump. But he is putting him on probation. In my mind, President Trump is on probation with me. I'm watching to see if he's going to sign this bill or not. And if he doesn't veto this bill, guys, he sold us out to foreign nations. That's just, there's no other way around it. I'm all ears if you guys can show me a different perspective. I really am. I'm all ears. But this stimulus bill is a steaming pile of crap. It's a crap sandwich without the bread. It is. I try not to cuss, guys. I try to be a good Catholic example. There's other words I wish I could use right now that I feel would just drive it home more. But I don't want to put content out there that I'm going to regret putting out later when I'm in a more calm mood, right? When you're in a bad mood, you got to watch what you say because you might say some things you regret. But I don't regret what I'm saying here, guys. And I hope I'm wrong. In the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, I hope I am wrong about everything I'm saying. I hope I have to do another video in a couple of days taking back everything I said. I hope I have to do another video in a couple of days saying, hey, President Trump, you're off probation, pal. You did a great job. Thanks for standing up for American people. We'll see you in Washington, D.C. on the 6th. I hope I can do that. I really do hope I'm wrong, guys. I really do. And if I end up being wrong about this, about putting Trump on probation, then I will admit that. I will publicly admit it. I go wherever the truth leads, guys. If that means I lose followers, I lose subs, so be it. So be it. That's not why I do this, guys. I do it because I love my country. And it is my love of my country where this is coming from, where this passion and this anger is coming from, is my love for America. And as President Trump said, America first. America comes before Republicans. America comes before Democrats. And I'm just being brutally honest, but the United States of America also comes before President Donald J. Trump. And I hope that President Trump does not put himself before America and sign this bill. Because if President Trump signs this bill, in my opinion, that is him conceding without giving a concession speech. In my opinion. If Donald Trump signs this bill and he sells us out to all these foreign countries and he robs our children and grandchildren of money that they are not going to have in the form of higher taxes that it's going to take to cover this bill, then that means, what else could it mean? That he's just trying to look out for his legacy on his way out and that he ended up leaving as a swamp creature. What else does that mean, guys? Again, I hope I'm wrong. And if I am, I am. If I've upset you, I apologize, but at the same time, I don't apologize because that's why people love my channel. What you see is what you get with Bobby Hesley. And I've always told you guys that I will always be true to you. I will never lie. I will always speak what's on my heart. But I can only go with the data and with the information that I have at the time when I say certain things. And as of now, I have scanned the president's Twitter handle, and he has not said a single thing about this stimulus. As a matter of fact, what kind of worries me is the last time President Trump said anything about the stimulus. Let me find it here. Let me look here. Give me a second, guys. Here it is. This was supposed to be 2 days ago. Anyway, a few days ago, the president was talking about him expecting a stimulus bill to, here it is. Let me share my screen. Make sure you guys can see this. Let me blow it up full screen. You see this right here? Why isn't Congress giving our people a stimulus bill? This was 2 days ago. It wasn't their fault. It was the fault of China. Get it done and give them more money in direct payments. Okay? So clearly the president is supporting a stimulus bill. But he better not support giving the $700 billion away to these other countries. That's all I'm saying. If you're going to pass a $900 billion stimulus bill, give the whole $900 billion to us then. Matter of fact, I hate to keep sharing and unsharing my screen, but let me do some math again. Let me do some final math before I let us all off here. So let me open up a calculator. So there's 328 million Americans, right? So 900 billion. Again, this is straight up socialism, guys, but gotta suffer socialism, then suffer socialism. 900 billion, right? Divided by 328 million. If this entire stimulus went to us, right? No foreign nations, no transgender operations in Pakistan. If this entire $900 billion stimulus went to us Americans, each American would get $2,744. Now that's some money. Now we're talking. That's enough money to get a family by for at least the next 30 days. If that, that would be some noticeable relief. $2,700 a piece. It's still straight up socialism. It's still bankrupting the country. It's still robbing future generations. But if you're going to rob our future generations, at least rob them in a way that's going to benefit their parents and grandparents. Just, guys, how can I be more honest than I'm being? Please, if you could show me another angle of this, I'm all ears. But why not give each American $2,700 a piece if that's what you're going to do? $2,750 a piece. I just did the math. 900 billion, 900,000 million divided by 328 million. That's $2,750 a piece. Why only 600 when we're much worse off than we were 9 months ago when all this stimulus started? So anyway, guys, Roseanne praying Trump doesn't sign the stimulus bill. $700 billion to foreign countries right now. Yeah, exactly, Roseanne. What happened to America first? What happened to America first? That's my question. What happened to America First? So, thanks for tuning in, guys. I'm being honest. We will keep a lookout on this. We'll see what the president does, but you know where I stand on this. So I'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for hearing me rant, and take care.